All right. So Michael Venom Page versus Sam Patterson happened at the UFC event on Saturday. It was Evloev versus Murphy in the main event, and it was kind of the whole card was kind of the consensus was that it was kind of bad. It was very boring. There wasn't much happening. There was a couple finishes, but not much. Obviously, the main event was controversial. The decision, that's a whole separate topic. But it was also one of the kind of main highlights of the card, or bad highlights, I guess you could say, is this fight here, the MVP versus Sam Patterson fight. This fight was incredibly boring. They just stared at each other for 3 rounds because, that's just how an MVP fight is now, There was total strikes, MVP 33, Sam Patterson 25, and that's not even significant strikes. Significant strikes, 27 versus 12. And I want to make this video today because I'm really getting tired of MVP. Obviously, part of it is Sam Patterson's fault as well, I guess. And I want to kind of pick apart the fight and just kind of get in maybe MVP as well, because he is kind of annoying me. He's getting to the point where it's like, right, you're not actually. It's a false advertisement, When MVP originally got signed to the UFC, everyone was like, whoa, we got this. It's like Adesanya 2. We've got Adesanya Reborn. No, Adesanya had lost the title, blah, blah. He's away. Or not away, but he's kind of not near the title. He's not as important as he once was. Now we've got MVP. He's going to make it to the belt. And at 36 years of age now, he's 38. Speaking of which, Sam Patterson's like 29, MVP's 38. It's like, come on. How are you losing to Sam Patterson? Are you losing to a guy who's like 9 years older? He's almost 40. He's older than Pereira, and he's at welterweight as well. So yeah, that wasn't the best. That's not the best thing for Sam Patterson to have on his resume. Because I think Sam Patterson's like kind of good. He's kind of getting there, but then they just ran into a 38-year-old MVP, so whatever. But yeah, when this fight was originally made, everyone was kind of like, what's going on? Like, why is MVP? Because MVP is a big name, obviously, and Sam Patterson isn't like, he's like somewhat of a contender. He has been on like a 3-fight win streak. And when they made this fight, everyone was like, what is going on? This fight is kind of like a summation of the UFC's matchmaking right now. Like, the matchmaking is a bit, weird, and it's like it doesn't make sense. It's very, confusing. So when they made this fight, everyone was like, what's going on? And then even MVP himself said he doesn't know why he's fighting Sam Patterson. I think the UFC probably just gave it to him because there was nothing else. Like, I don't even know who the UFC can match, or rather, I don't know why they didn't just do someone else, because MVP, as I said, is a big name, and he can generate some views. Like, as bad, like at this point, maybe not so much after this fight, but put him against like a known name, because he's ranked. He's ranked number 13. Put him against someone that you can make a promo and a good fight out of it. But the problem with MVP's fight style is that it's kind of been like, at the start it was like, he's like a karate guy, or rather at the start of his UFC tenure, like when he got signed, it was like, he's a karate guy, he's dead technical, he's like stylish and all that. But now it just kind of, it does highlight how boring he is when, because he's like a counter striker, but it's like, he doesn't do anything to make the fight happen. It's all, he just like, because Sam Patterson wasn't really going, because, he's obviously going to be like worried about the counter strike of MVP. And MVP just sits in like a bladed stance and, feints constantly, because that's what was happening in the fight. In the fight, it was literally them staring at each other. MVP was throwing a lot of feints, like, that kind of, jump forward and back, the kind of fake, feint, that he does, and Sam Patterson was kind of like, trying to avoid it and stuff. And then literally, I was watching because I did watch the highlights on TNT Sports afterwards, or even I watched them recently as well, and it's like the highlights for a 15-minute fight is a minute. It's 1 minute long, and it's literally the only time they'd highlight is one of them throws a punch, the other throws a punch back, and that's the end of like that sequence. And that there was nothing like longer than that, or like I didn't see anything longer than that. So the problem is MVP is just like his fight style. If he's not against the right person, and that's not the other person's fault necessarily. That's MVP's fault because he can't just have this one fight style. And also MVP, and I'm gonna talk about MVP more as like a person, like a fighter. He just kind of like really annoying me right now. Like he's kind of always annoyed me after like maybe the first two fights, after maybe the Ian Gary fight. He just kind of lost all the interest in him because he has this fight style, and all his fight style is doing feints in like a crouched, bladed stance, like karate stance, and just throw a big power shot at the head. Like, look at this. This was in the fight. Where is it? They're all like headshots because all he does is do that bladed stance and then just like feint, throw like a overhand. Like he would obviously throw like a couple jabs and stuff like that, but it's just always just at some big overhand or something like that. And you're waiting like a minute while they're staring at each other, and then what's MVP gonna do? A big overhand that like gets blocked, or obviously he landed against like Kevin Holland and stuff, but that's like Kevin Holland, and then like Cannonier, I guess, but it's the same thing. And then it's like what the thing he does about the flag, like. And this walkout song, he walked out to like I don't know if this was like confirmed or not. I just seen it like on Twitter, and it was like he walked out to this song saying like they don't care about us or some. That was the lyrics, and apparently it was to dispute Conor Ben's 15 million. The boxer for Dana White's do for boxing. Like it was to dispute him getting 15 million, saying the UFC don't care about the fighters and blah blah blah. I seen something else saying it was to do with like maybe something more racial. I have no idea, but there's that. There's or even that in itself. If it's to do with Conor Ben, it's like, bro, you're signed to the UFC. You have a great contract for what you actually bring to the company. Because I'm sure MVP is on like a 500,000, somewhere between 500,000 and a million, probably 500,000. Regardless if he wins or loses, that's what he'll get. And that's a great contract for what MVP brings because he doesn't really bring much. Like he has like that cool like the cool fight stance that he that came up during like Bellator, and that's why he got signed to the UFC. After he went into free agency. But other than that, MVP doesn't bring anything else to the UFC. He has like no personality. His whole personality is just to be like this hippie guy, on his thing. You know how MVP doesn't have the flag? He just has like that, universal world logo or whatever it is on his thing. He doesn't have his actual. He doesn't have the UK. He doesn't have whatever. I don't know where MVP is ethnically from, but he doesn't have the UK. He lives in the UK. He doesn't put the UK flag, and it's like there is a quote saying that he doesn't do it because it's like we're all one people, and it sparks more division than it does unity. And it's like, what the hell is that? You're a fighter. And he said something like, no government or no country like contracts me to fight for them. So why would I put their flag in my, whatever you call it, like emblem or whatever? Or why would I put their flag next to my name? It's like, what? It's like, you live in the UK. Why would you not put the UK flag? It's like, the reason why you're like a good martial artist, a good UFC, you're in the UFC is partially because you're like born and raised in the UK. Like the UK has given a lot to you, and you don't put it next to your name because of, I don't know, something, because people like the flag, because the flag can symbolize certain things in politics or whatever. I have no idea. I'm just assuming that might be what the reason why, or like colonialism, or like like the UK's colonial past or something like that. It's gonna be something like that. I just assume. So yeah, but other than that, MVP is not. I'm not the biggest MVP fan. He's kind of getting really boring, and he does not have a single finish in the UFC yet. This is the last part we'll make, but it's like MVP. This wants to work. MVP has been in the UFC. He's 4-1 in the UFC. He's touted as this big, striker. He's so technical, and oh my god, I love an MVP fight. And it's like he hasn't had a single finish. None of his fights even have been to a finish. That's so you know how boring they are. Even the Gary fight, it's like they got, even though he lost, it's like that's who you know it's just gonna be a bad fight because you get fighters who will get finished, but they make it an exciting fight. Like Chandler. Chandler will make fights really exciting, even though he'll get finished. But it's like the whole time Chandler's bringing it to him. Whereas like even when MVP loses, he loses a decision because the whole time it's like stalling or he's like barely getting outstruck. Like maybe in the Gary fight, he got taken down a bunch and stuff. But other than that, it's like literally all decisions. And I don't want to watch him if he's going to get constantly decisions because I don't want to. There's a difference because like someone like Piotr Jan will go to decision a lot of times, yeah, but he'll make it exciting. There's about a billion different things Jan will do. He'll do these sweet takedowns. He'll do like 10 punch combinations. He'll do leg kick. Like just do high kicks. All sorts. An MVP decision fight is like you sit. He does the bladed stance and just throws an overhand and that happens like throughout the whole fight. Couple jabs, and maybe he gets taken down and gets back up. That's it. That's all an MVP fight is. He'll throw some flashy thing, elbow or whatever. I have no idea what. I don't know why you'd want to watch an MVP fight at this point because it's the same thing every time. And yeah, so I'm kind of done with MVP. I just can't be bothered. He's sitting saying Sam Patterson's the reason why the fight wasn't exciting because he wasn't engaging. It's like, bro, just stop. We know why the fight was boring because you have the same fight style every time. You have the same two moves and that's it. So yeah, but that's all I want to say. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. Really helps out. And if you disagree, if you have anything else to say on my opinion, please comment below. Let me know what you think. And I will see you later. Bye.